Arkan, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the Torah tribes, Yasha giving reports, all love, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Mashak, Mamalaki, Habashah. That's all praises, honor, glorification unto the Most High God, Yahweh. In the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh, this brother Yasha Allah coming back, y'all, with yet another video through the Spirit and Pod, Yahweh, Bahashim, Mashak, Mamalaki, Habashah. All right, so I'm gonna get straight into this, right? This is going into really, as you can see from the title of this video, is going into let's not be fooled and deny me. All right. So the point is, in these scriptures, right? The scriptures say that you don't want to have too much in this world. You don't want to have too many worldly possessions. You don't want to have too much money. And you don't want to have too little. It's a just balance in this thing, right? And there's a lot of precepts on that. But I want to start with the book of Deuteronomy, right? Let's go to the law first. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy and let's see where it's first written at, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8 and verse number 11, right? It says, beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God and not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, lest when thou hast eaten and are full, and has built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thine heart be lifted up. So that's what the Lord is saying, right? The Lord is saying that he's saying, beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God. See, when we forget the Lord, we're in sin, right? When we're sinning and doing the things that we want to do, and our pride compasses us like a chain, pursuant to the book of Psalm chapter 73. And when our heart is lifted up against the Most High, we don't keep his commandments. That's what it says in verse 11. It says, beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God and not keeping his commandments. When we're not keeping the law, statute, commandments, we're not growing out our beard. When the sisters not putting on the dress and wearing modest apparel, when they're not walking shamefast, when we're indulging in all manner of sin, folly, wickedness, fornication, etc., then we're forgetting the Lord, right? We're forgetting the Lord, and we're forgetting the commandments. The Lord said, beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God, right? And when he's going down, it says in verse 12, lest thou, when thou hast eaten and are full, and has built goodly houses and dwelt therein. You might have goodly houses. You might live in a goodly house, right? And when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied. So everything that you have is multiplied, and the blessings of the Lord has come upon you, and now you have everything in abundance. You literally have everything that you can want in a materialistic way, right? Verse 14, then thine heart be lifted up. So then, because of the abundance of your worldly possessions and your riches, etc., now your heart is lifted up. The Lord said that, when your heart is lifted up above the Lord, essentially, then you're going off, because that's pride, right? Let's keep going. It says, then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. So when we do that, then we're going off. We're transgressing the commandments, because a lot of people, they try to surround and try to basically indulge themselves in worldly possessions and things that they have, right? And try to increase in that more and more. Guess what? That's not going to bring you, right, righteousness from the Lord. Because let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 30. Let's go to Proverbs, chapter 30, and verse number 7. Two things have I required of thee, deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. So the Lord said, this man basically is praying to the Lord, and he's saying, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. So he didn't want to be impoverished, right? We don't want to be in poverty. We don't want to be impoverished, right? We want to have something to live by, right? But it says what? Give me neither poverty nor riches. There could be brothers praying to get rich and to make it rich and have billions of dollars and millions of dollars. Hey, guess what? This righteous man, he didn't want poverty, but he didn't want riches either. What did he want? He said, feed me with food convenient for me. He wanted to be content. He wanted to have food just convenient for him. He wanted to have just enough, right? Verse 9, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? And where can you get that from? This man, he knows the law, because we literally read that in Deuteronomy, right? That when you become full, then you might start to forget the Lord, because you have everything that you can want, right? It says what? Lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? The Lord said in the book of Matthew, chapter 10, and verse number 32. All right, let's get this real quick. Matthew chapter 10 and verse number 32, it says, whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. So the Lord said, right, in Proverbs 30 and 9, it says, lest I be full and deny thee. We don't want to deny the Lord, because the Lord said in Matthew chapter 10 and verse number 33 that if any man denies him, he's going to not deny us before the Father. You know, that means the Lord's not going to be dealing with you. So we got to be careful that we don't deny the Lord. And one of the ways you can get to denying the Lord is you waxing rich in your abundance and you having too much, right? Too many things surrounded, or too many worldly possessions. Unless you become full and you start to deny the Lord, right? And say, who is the Lord? That's a proud statement. Nobody should be saying who is the Most High, right? And the Most High is Yahweh Bashua Mashak Yahweh Shah, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. But when you have too much stuff, you have 12 cars, right? You got 10 cars. You're a billionaire, right? You live at the snap of your finger, you can travel from New York City to Seattle. You know, on your private jet, you have literally everything that you can want. So you're not going to be praying to the Lord. Why would you be praying to the Lord? You have everything already, right? It says, who is the Lord, lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. So, of course, you don't want to have too many riches, but of course, you don't want to be too poor either. You want to be in the middle, right? And even people in the world, they'll tell you that. They'll tell you that there's a certain amount of money, there's a certain salary in which money and happiness are basically at the equilibrium, all right, are equal. So if you have this much, if you make this much, then it's cool, because just because you make more money doesn't mean necessarily that you're more happy. Doesn't necessarily mean that, and even in economics, it'll tell you that. But it says, or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. And sometimes the happiest people on earth, they don't have a lot of stuff. They don't have a lot of worldly possessions. They don't have 10 cars. They don't have, a Bugatti and all this other stuff. They don't have Gucci and Fendi. They don't need that stuff. But yet they're still happy. Yet they're still blessed of the Lord. Yet they still keep the commandments, right? But it says what? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. But you don't want to be so destitute that you have to buy, you haven't eaten in 3 days. So you start, the flesh starts to get to you. And instead of you praying, you go ahead and take matters to your own hands and start stealing. And then you take the name of the Lord in vain. So we don't want to be that low, but we also want to be at a middle level, right? Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 19. Right, that's why the Lord said this as well. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19, and verse number 23. Right? Right. Let's start at verse 16. It says, and behold, one came and said unto him, good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. So Yahweh Shah said that in order for you to enter into life, you have to keep the commandments, right? He said unto him, which? So this man asked him, what commandments do I have to keep? Yahweh Shah said, thou shalt not do no murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother. Right? Now, those are in the 10. Those are in Exodus chapter 20, as well as the book of Deuteronomy, the 5th chapter. All right. But These are the 10 commandments, right? And it says what? And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Here's the thing, that's not in the 10 though. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. That's not in the 10. That's in Leviticus chapter 19, right? Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So here's the thing, man. A lot of Christians, just as a sidebar, a lot of Christians say, well, just the 10 is fine and all this other stuff, and thou shalt not kill. Well, I keep the commandments, I don't kill, I don't steal, this, and the third. That's what they'll say, man. Well, guess what? It's not just the 10. You don't have to just, you're not just relegated to just the 10 and just restrict it to just the 10 commandments. And then that's it. And you don't have to keep the other ones, man. There's around 600 commandments, 613. We have to keep all that because those are the law, statutes, and commandments that's given to us, right? And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Guess what? Christians, they say, oh yeah, that's also a commandment too. You got to be keeping that. They'll put that over pork. They'll put that all over the whole damn law. They say, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, not even knowing what that commandment really means. That commandment means that if you love your neighbor, you would keep the commandments. You would keep the other laws. That's what that commandment means. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, right? But just as a sidebar, it's proven that it's not just the 10 commandments we have to keep. It's all the law, right? Verse 20. The young man saith unto him, all these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? So this young man said that, look, I kept, I kept the commandments, and, I keep the law, right? What else? What else do I have to do? Verse 21. Yahweh said unto him, if thou will be perfect. So, and that's what the Lord said he wanted us to be perfect. Let's get that Matthew 5:48, right? Let's go to the book of Matthew 5:48. It says, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect, man. So the Lord said, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So we have to be perfect with the Lord, right? Let's go to the book, right? Nah, it's all right, right? Let's keep reading on that. Matthew 19:21. Yahweh said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. See, that takes faith, though. That takes a great amount of faith because this man had a lot of worldly possessions. He got a lot of money. But the Lord said, if you want to be perfect and you actually want to follow me, he said, go and sell that thou hast. Sell your worldly possessions, right? In a modern day term, sell your iPhone 12, right? Sell your damn, your Bugatti, man. Sell it and give that money to the poor. Don't take it for yourself. The Lord said, give that to the poor. That takes a lot of faith for a rich man to literally sell the stuff that he has and give it to the poor. What? Just a minute ago, he was sitting up in a mansion, man. He was sitting up in a mansion with an abundance of money and an abundance of gold and silver, with abundance of chains and shoes that cost more than some people's rent. You know what I'm saying? And suits and ties in abundance and clothes in abundance. You go from that and you sell all of it willingly and give it to the poor. That takes a lot of faith, right? And Yahweh was testing his faith, man. Right? It says, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast and give it to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven. When somebody says to you that you're storing up treasures in heaven, in order for that person to believe you, they have to have a certain level of faith. Of course, we believe it because the Lord told us it, man, in the book of Matthew, the 6th chapter. All right, let's get that. That's the money that really matters. But in order for you to believe it, because remember, right? And that goes into a lot of different things, but 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 16 on down. The Lord talks about, while we look at the things that are not seen, for the things that are not seen are eternal, but the things that are seen are temporal, or it's like the things that are seen are temporal, and the things that are not seen are eternal. So we can't see the treasures in heaven that the Lord talks about. We can't see it, we can't touch it, the kingdom of heaven, we can't see it or touch it or feel it. We don't know what the kingdom looks like, man. That's 1 Corinthians 2:9. I have not seen nor ear heard the things that God has prepared for them that waited for him, roughly paraphrasing. So we haven't seen these things. We can't touch and feel Yahweh, right? That's what in the book of right, let's get this real quick. Right. Just expound on that. But we have faith that these things are real. Let's go to the book of First Peter chapter 1 and verse number 8. Whom have ye not seen ye love? So we haven't seen Yahweh Shah, but we love him, man. You can tell that Israel loves, Israel in this truth loves Yahweh Shah and loves the Lord, because we're literally, keeping the commandments. We have faith that this book is real, right? We go out into the highways and byways every Saturday. We pray before. We don't even know what Yahweh Shah looks like in terms of his actual physical facial features, right? Does Yahweh Shah have an afro? What does the afro look like? We don't know that, man. We don't know that. Of course, we know Revelation chapter 1, but outside of that, we don't know too much about the Lord. We haven't seen him. We haven't touched him, right? In the physical. But it says, whom have ye not seen, ye love, in whom though now ye see him not, yet believing ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory. You see that? And that also relates into John chapter 20, verse 27 on that, right? But let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 6 and verse number 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. You see that? So the Lord said, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, man, because that's where you really want to be rich at, right? In the kingdom of heaven, to where you can spend your money in abundance, right? Your unlimited riches in abundance, and there is no sin in that. And there's not going to be any sin in the next world, man, amongst the body and the nation of Israel, right? But let's go to the book of Matthew 19, verse 21 again. It says, Yahweh Shah said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. So this man had great possessions, but he basically put down his head, was like, you know what, I can't do that. I can't sell what I have, because I love this world. He loved the world. He loved what he had, and he couldn't do it. Right? Not many men can do that. And that's why the Lord's going to say this. Verse 23. Then said Yahweh Shah to his disciples, verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. So Yahweh Shah said a rich man is very, very hard for him to enter into the kingdom of heaven. It's already hard for individuals in the lower and the middle classes, so-called, to enter into the kingdom. It's already hard for them. It's already hard for us to enter into the kingdom, because though we don't have much, especially the lower classes, so-called, right? The lower classes that, they don't really have much, man. Really have much. If it's hard for them to enter into the kingdom, how much more for those that are in the so-called higher classes that have this world's good, as James says, man. That has, or it's like 1 John, right? That literally has money in abundance. That's rich, wealthy, It says, verily I say unto you that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, the Lord didn't say that it's impossible, but it's hard. It's challenging. Verse 24. And again, I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. See that? But it's possible, man. The Lord said with the Most High, all things are possible. Right? Let's go to the book. All right. Just having money, it creates more problems, especially in this truth, man. And the Lord said this. Not saying you can't have money. Not saying you can't have money. Let's get this precept. Proverbs 10 verse 22. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. So the Lord said, hey, the blessing of the Lord, it will make you rich. And he doesn't add any sorrow to it. Right? You would have and receive that money by just means, and it will make you happy. But, the curse of the Lord, he can give you money, but a lot of sorrow will come with it. Right? So it's not even worth it at the end of the day. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. It says, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty. So right now, the real Israelites, the real Jews are impoverished right now, right? And we're going through tribulation. See that? It says in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. So the Lord, nevertheless, though we might be poor on the physical and the outside level, the Lord said we're rich spiritually. How are we rich spiritually? We're rich because let's go to the book of James, chapter 2, verse 5. James chapter 2, verse 5. Hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not God chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith? So the Lord said that the Israelites are rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he had promised to them that love him. So the Israelites, because the kingdom is promised to them, and because they are rich in faith, therefore the Lord said we're spiritually rich, right? But we're poor in we're physically poor. But the Lord said he chose the poor of this world who are rich in faith. That's what the Lord is dealing with. You see that? It says, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Right? Let's go to the book Philippians. That's going into the so-called Jewish man. But let's go to Philippians chapter 3 and verse number 7. But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Christ. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Mahashiach Yahushua my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ. So Paul, he said that everything that was gained to him, he counted it a loss for Mahashiach. He counts all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Mahashiach Yahushua. Meaning, he forsook everything that he had in the world. He forsook it, the glory, the status that he might have had back in the world, being a Pharisee in the Hebrews. He forsook all that, and for this truth, he forsook all of it for this truth, for the excellency of the knowledge of Mahashiach Yahushua, his Lord, man. Right? So we might even have to forsake our riches when we come to the truth, just to get the kingdom of heaven. But you're forsaking your riches in this present world to get riches in the world to come. But the reason why a lot of men can't do that, or a lot of women can't do that, is because it takes a great amount of faith. And faith is something that is not prevalent in this world today, right? I'm going to get this precept. All right. Let me get this precept real quick. I'm going to close it out soon. All right, Luke chapter 18 verse 7. It says, and shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear along with him. So why would you be crying day and night unto the Lord if you're rich and have money in abundance? Why would you be crying unto the Lord? What reason do you have to do that? Yeah, you might have some minor problems, but the Lord said that money answereth all things, So, wealth is and also that wealth is a defense. Money is a defense. Money will fight for you, and you can get things in this world easy, right? With money, and with money you have power. All this other stuff, you will strive in this world. You fall in love with this world if you have too much money. But the Lord said God is going to avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear along with him. I can see the man that's poor and afflicted, and he can't get a bite to eat. You know what I'm saying? He's barely making it. He's barely making rent, etc., etc. I can see that man crying inside every day. I can see him crying inside every day, but I can't see the man that's sitting up in a mansion with 10 cars, right? And, 12-car garage and, a lawn that's just damn acres big and all this other stuff. I can't see him crying and sighing daily unto the Lord. Why would he be doing that? He doesn't even believe in the Lord, right? Hey, remember that's Proverbs 30. Lest I be fooled and say, who is the Lord? That's why also Esau is proud too. And he says that there is no God and that he's the Most High. That's that's tons of precepts. But that's Isaiah 14 and 12 on down, right? I will be like the Most High because they increase in riches. That's Psalm chapter 73 on down as well, verses 1 on down. But it says what? Luke chapter 18 verse 8. It says, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? So that's the thing, man. When the Lord comes, is he going to find faith on the earth? Faith is not prevalent in this society and in this world right now. Nobody has faith. Nobody believes in the Lord. Nobody believes that these things are and these words are true. Nobody really believes in Yahushua. right? Because a lot of Christians say that they believe in God, they have a personal relationship with Him, but they're not keeping the commandments. They're not reading. They're not studying. They say that they're going to get the kingdom. You really think you're going to get the kingdom just by so-called believing in the Lord in your own vain mind? Nah, man. Acts 14:22 says that through much tribulation we shall enter into the kingdom. The average Christian is not going through tribulation, man. They're not going through that, right? They might go through their small minor problems, but they're not going through the tribulation as a servant of the Most High, you know. But it says, nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth. We know that when you have faith, you can do things, things that you never thought that you could do, right? And that's why the Lord said in Mark chapter 11, verse 22, the Lord said, let's just get this real quick, right? Mark chapter 11, and verse 22, it says, and Yahweh shall answer and said unto them, have faith in God. Hey, straight like that. There's a period at the end, man. Lord said, hey, have faith in the Most High, period. That's it, right? What else is there to say? Have faith in the Most High, because when you have faith in the Most High, you keep the commandments, right? You believe on Him, you strive for Him, you fight for Him. You literally, you have faith, right? Faith is that fuel that we have to run on in these last days. If we don't have faith, we're going to fall out the truth. It says, have faith in the Most High, right? And that's what these rich people in the higher classes that have literally so many worldly possessions. In order for them to come to the Lord, they have to increase their faith, because if they have faith that they're going to have a reward at the end, and that if they, like that man in Matthew chapter 19, that the Lord told to sell his possessions if he wanted to be perfect and follow Him. But that man, he walked away sad. He walked away sad, man. He couldn't do it. He couldn't sell his possessions. Why? Because he didn't have faith that he would literally have treasure in heaven, right? He didn't have faith that he would have treasure in heaven, right? He didn't believe that. So that's the problem. He did not have faith, right? So that's why I always say that we got to be building up our faith in these last days, because if we don't, then guess what? We can't do anything. We can't increase, right? We can't get the kingdom. Yeah, we like to always harp on keeping the commandments, and we always have to do that. We like to harp on going into the prophecies, which we also do, right? We go into keeping watch. All these things is important, but what's also solely important that I argue, and according to scripture as well, and shalom to everyone that's listening, right? What I also argue, of course, with scripture is that guess what we need faith. We need faith, because if you have faith, right? Let me keep reading on in this. Mark chapter 11, verse 23. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. The Lord said he shall have whatsoever he saith. The Lord said that you can say to the mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and it shall be done unto you. Meaning what? What does that mount represent? That mount represents the problems that you have to go through in life. They always say that life is full of problems, and that's just the Most High putting that there to try you, to discipline you, and to make you a better Israelite, especially in this truth, to make you a better person, to serve Him more, to have faith. Because we know that Romans 8:28, the Lord said, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are called according to His Spirit. All right, roughly paraphrasing. To them that are called according to His purpose. All right. So those mountains that's in front of us that we have to overcome, that we have to climb, and though it may be grievous unto us, guess what? We have to do it. And the Lord said, "Be thou," it says, "and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart." And we have to remove that. We have to remove that out of our heart, out of our mind, because your heart is your mind. We have to remove that doubt from our heart. But shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. That's what the Lord said. If you say, "No, I don't believe that," then just close up the book. But that's what Yahweh said. And I strive to increase that faith, right? To increase that faith more and more every day. Verse 24. It said, "Therefore I say unto you, what things whoever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. Right? And also that goes into praying as well. If you believe that you're going to receive that thing that you ask for, you're going to receive it, man, in righteousness. Let's go to Luke chapter 17 and verse 5. And the apostles said unto the Lord, increase our faith. Simple as that. Yahushua is cut to the chase, man. He says, increase, the apostles, they said, increase our faith to the Lord. Let's say increase our faith. So if the apostles were literally walking to and fro with Yahushua, it was able to touch him. John literally was on the bosom of Yahushua. Nobody has ever seen Yahushua right now. We haven't seen him. Like I said before, we don't know what he looks like or anything like that. Yet, nevertheless, these apostles said unto the Lord, increase our faith. So how much more us? Right? How much more us? Because that faith is what's going to make you do things in its truth, and even just in life, period, that's going to get you to the things that you want, get you to the goals that you want to achieve with that faith. That's how important it is. If you could have $1 billion, you can have $2 billion, $3 billion. You can have as much money as damn Elon Musk. If you have a lot of faith, you'll be able to drop all that for the Lord in a moment's instance. It just depends on how much faith you have. It's not about how long your beard is. It's not about how many fringe shirts you have. It's not about that. It's not about if you have a 1611 or you just have a pocket Bible with your Apocrypha. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It matters about how much faith you have. So if you have a lot of faith, guess what? We can go through anything. You can literally go through the fire, man. If you have a lot of faith, it'll be easy. You'll be happy to go through the fire if you have faith. You know, all these things, right? So that's why, and just relating this back to the title of the video, right? Going into how, you don't want too much in this world. Because let's say you don't have that much faith, which is fine, because the Lord said, let's go to the book of Romans. Right? Let's go to Romans. Not everybody's going to have the same amount of faith. Guess what? Paul, he had a great amount of faith. We see his faith through his works. Right? He was literally preaching, all day. That's what Paul was going. He was going hard. Let's go to Romans chapter 12, verse 3. But not everybody was going to have the same amount of faith. It says Romans 12 and 3. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. So the Lord has dealt to every man the measure of faith. So your measure of faith might be different from another brother or another sister. But that doesn't mean that, that you're necessarily better than them. It's just that you may have to increase your faith. Just ask and pray to the Lord to increase your faith. Increase your faith by reading the accounts and going to the precepts and all this other stuff, fasting. It doesn't mean that you can't increase it. But at the end of the day, not everybody's going to have the same amount of faith. So therefore, it's just, safe to stay away from the abundance of riches, because you might have this much faith, and you still, indulge yourself in these riches, and you get beguiled, and that's also 1 Timothy chapter 6 as well. Right? You get beguiled and pierced through with many sorrows, and you fall out the truth. You see that? Trying to run and chase after riches, then trying to chase after the Lord, right? And shalom nakamai, right? All praise to the Most High. But with that, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Mashak, Wamalaki Habashah. Lord willing, this is edifying, Brother Yasha Allah. Shalom.